Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1796, written by Soggy Potential, 5909. White, bright, out of sight. Okay, so first off, I am more of a skeptic when it comes to this, because people just so happen to have their phones or cameras out and going on when glitches happen, and it's hard to believe. Now I live in Aurora, Colorado. I usually take the bus and trains to get around on the weekends, to save on gas and wear on my car. So today, like usual, I was waiting at the bus stop. And like usual, I'm looking up the street for the bus so I can have my pass ready and whatnot. And like usual, I'm also paying attention to people. Not staring, just noticing and observing, and keeping note because the world is messed up right now, and I'm trying to stay safe. So as I'm looking up the street for the bus, I noticed a couple. Guy and gal, as I saw, but I'll explain. I really took note of them because they both had really bright blonde hair. Imagine Barbie and Ken. Both were extremely pale, both wore white shorts, both wore white tops. And they were both really tall. Like I'm 6'3", and this guy seemed like he was 6'7" or 6'9" easy, and the girl was not much shorter than him. Now I saw them stop at the crosswalk, waiting to cross the street coming towards me, and I saw them as they started crossing the street, again coming in my direction. So now I realized that maybe I was staring because they really stood out, so I looked away. I literally looked away for 4 or 5 seconds max before looking back towards them, and they were gone. I looked all around, across the streets, down the street I was on. I even ran down the block to see if they maybe were jogging down the street, where I couldn't see from the bus stop. I looked everywhere, and they were just gone. What is freaking me out is how there could be no way to run past me without me noticing, and they just literally just disappeared. What did I just see? I'm trying to think this through and I can't figure it out. Case answer file 1796. White, bright, out of sight. If there ever was a story that made me think of angels, this would be it. Now, it's funny because in the biblical sense, from what I understand, angels are supposed to look extremely distorted because they're like outside of our dimension, so they have 20 eyes and they're giant and so on. They don't look like, glowing white angels like you describe here. But this is the sense that most people have when they imagine an angel. Now, guardian angels, are they actually related, real angels from God, or servers, simulation, managers, game devs? I'm leaning towards the latter more, but whatever it is, it does seem like these are entities, not real humans. They're above that in some form, and they're just taking shape in the material world for some reason temporarily. Now, I speculate that guardian angels cannot directly materialize into the world. They have to possess something, unless they enter your mind. So they never were really there. They were just in your mind. Then you have to ask the question, why do they want you to see them? Maybe just to open your horizons more? Open your mind more? That's a possibility. So to your question, was it just you seeing them? Probably. Yeah, that would be my guess. But that's not a bad thing. And it doesn't mean you're crazy. I don't think that's what's happening. It's not a hallucination. Well, it is, but it's a hallucination that is induced into you. So it's not your mind just malfunctioning. Case file number 1797, written by In Vain 1987. Before our eyes, a dusty surprise. So I live in this building for 6 years now, and my wife even longer, 11 years. A few days ago, when I came back from work, I noticed a huge air duct right next to the entrance of the building. At first, I just thought they installed it that day, so I got up close and checked. But after closer inspection, it became clear that the duct was in fact old and dusty. So I took a photo, and because it was late and my wife was asleep, I also went to bed. The next day, I showed the picture to my wife, and asked her if that air duct has been there all those years, because I thought it's weird I just noticed it yesterday after years of living in that building. She gave me a puzzled look and thought I was messing with her. She said she's never seen it before, didn't believe me. Instantly went down to check and came back with a very puzzled look on her face. There are 11 entries to the building, none of which has an air vent like that installed. For the past 6, 11 for my wife, years, we went past it every single day and never noticed it. Case notes file 1797. Before our eyes, a dusty surprise. So if I'm understanding correctly, towards the end you say that you never noticed it, but before that you say that your wife went down and checked all the entrances and didn't see a vent. So I'm thinking that's what you mean, that you both saw it, you have a picture of it, but now it doesn't exist anymore. And the entire time you both lived there, you never saw it either. So if that's the case, and you still have the picture of a vent that doesn't exist, that is a new level. Because if not, quantum immortality or multiverse sight, but if you have evidence on your phone, that's a question. I haven't thought about that before because I don't think it's come up, but what if you're in multiverse sight? Your soul is in a different universe. Well, I figure it's just your soul, but maybe your full body does go there, but only temporarily. And you take a picture on that phone and come back. Now you have evidence of something that's different, and it doesn't change. If it's just your soul that was inhabiting the other you in that universe, well, the phone wouldn't show anything because you didn't take the picture in that body with that phone. So it would have to be your whole body that went there, then came back, which is another level entirely, because I'm thinking that quantum immortality happens because the soul is lighter, ethereal, and can travel between the multiverse ocean really quickly, but the physical body shouldn't be able to. Unless somehow just the data from the phone traveled back with you in your soul. I don't know exactly how that could work though. If the vent was there, you took a picture, and then it wasn't there, and you never saw it again or before. Hey, that would be almost more like the universe is truly bleeding together, but only for a split second. So you didn't go anywhere. It's the multiverse itself, the onion layers that are pushed in. Maybe there's outside pressure that was pushing them together, but only for a small amount of time. And given that it's a universe right next to yours, the changes between them would be minimal. So most people probably wouldn't notice anything different because there weren't many changes between them. That would be my guess now, actually. A multiverse pressure pushing two universes together for only a small amount of time. What the hell could pressure universes together, though, if that's accurate? That's something to think about. Case file number 1798, written by Nutrock69. Paused in the tempest, still as a night. The trees that defied the wind's might. Been reading many of the stories here over the years, but never really saw anything myself that I couldn't readily explain until now. From my house, I can see hundreds of very tall trees around the neighborhood. They're all tall and thin, so on windy days they tend to sway a bit, and even when it's just a slight breeze, it's pretty easy to see the leaves moving around. Last week, my neighborhood experienced a couple of those massively windy thunderstorms, the ones that blew through much of the northeast US. During storms like this, the trees always sway fairly broadly in the wind, and the first storm that passed us last week was no different. Watching from inside, the wind was severe, the rain was being blown nearly sideways, and we could easily see all the trees moving back and forth as the leaves tried hard to stay attached. The storm that hit the next day was just as powerful as the first, but with one significant difference. While it was going on, the wind was blowing so strong that the rain was once again falling sideways. But watching the trees, not a single one was moving. No swaying at all, and the leaves were acting like the wind speed was exactly 0. The only way I could describe it was if someone rendered a scene in a video game, but they forgot to press play. Every tree in every direction I could look were so still they looked like printed pictures, instead of hundreds of trees being buffeted by severely powerful wind and rain. At the very least, the leaves should be getting pounded by rain, causing them to move from that. But nope, nothing moved except for the raindrops, which were very clearly being affected by a powerful wind that seemed to not affect anything else. After watching this for a few minutes, completely awestruck, I turned away to go get my phone to film it. When I turned back, everything was moving as it should. Huge sways for the tall trees, and the leaves were once again moving like they were being affected by strong winds and rain. Is there something that could reasonably explain this? I've never seen the trees and leaves not moving, even on days where there's practically no wind. But everything in all directions was completely frozen until I turned away and back again. It's almost like someone pressed pause on the tree animation, but couldn't restart it again while I was directly watching it. Case notes file 1798. Paused in the tempest, still as night. The trees that defied the wind's might. I love when people come to the same conclusion that I do, that it's like a video game simulation and the animation simply wasn't playing. Now, I don't know if it's the animation. I don't think trees and, matter in the universe is animated in the sense that we would in a video game. I think it responds to the forces in nature, but they can be slowed down or paused if the server running all those calculations, and they're so trying to simulate a universe this complex is actually mind-blowing, because if you try to even simulate a single bundle of molecules or amino acids and how they form, protein folding and all that, it takes so much computing power. To simulate an entire universe like this would require the above universe, the real universe, to be leagues bigger and have entire solar systems worth of computing power devoted to it. Now, there could be tricks involved, and it gets back to this, where I think if a specific area is malfunctioning, if the server is not able to compute fast enough, then it'll slow things down. It even stretches into the very speed limit of the universe and how there is no universal now. It's all relative. Time is all relative. So that is how the server can manage things, because there is a speed limit to how fast things can happen and how fast it needs to process things. In fact, I think the best evidence that we live in a simulation is the universal speed limit, c, the speed of causality, not the speed of light. The light travels at that speed, but it really is the speed of causality. You cannot transmit information or anything faster than the speed of light, speed of causality again. And I think that's evidence that, why have that otherwise? I think it's just to limit the universe down to a manageable level, because if not, things could just happen too quick. So I think this was an active storm, a lot of complexity to it, a lot of internal chaos. The server was struggling to process it and had to sacrifice some element of computation. And it just said, okay, well, what's the least important thing to simulate here? The animation of the trees moving. As soon as you look away and look back, then it's fixed. That is the key. They never fix things when we're watching it. If it's an item disappearing or coming back or time slowdowns or stuff like that, it's always when we're not watching, because they don't want to make it obvious. If it's a glitch, that's okay. If it's a glitch we see fixed in real time, then we really start to get going and say, what the hell's going on? So it's better to leave it open-ended, not quite understood, which makes sense to me. Now, time for the quote of the day. When you win, say nothing. When you lose, say less. Paul Brown. I think being stoic in a contest and after the fact is very important. You don't want to be some condescending jerk when you win, like, yeah, I'm the winner, you suck, go home, loser, etc. No, just say good game. It's like I play a lot of video games, as most people know by now. And after a match, you just say, good game, had fun, good luck on your next game, so on. A lot of people get invested in their ego, and they can't do that. And that's a problem, regardless if you won or lost. So always treat other people with respect, even in competitive environments. Very difficult to do, but it's worth doing. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.